Hey everybody, this is Donna Meals, health and life coach, and that's who I am and that's what I do. My goal is to teach food education, and that's figuring out what it is that you're really supposed to eat, you personally, and learning how to love that. Not an easy process, but that's what I'm trying to do, is make it as easy as we can here. You really got to have your head on board, know what it is you're supposed to eat, through all the basic tenets of good health, and have your heart on board and really want to eat that. So that's usually where most of the struggle comes in. It's easy to locate what you're supposed to eat, but really finding that desire, shall we say. Sometimes that comes because we absolutely don't have a choice, but if I have my say here, I'm gonna just try and give everybody the tools and the tricks, the tips of how to actually turn that around. And most of that is about it's about changing your habits, and the only way you can do that is through planning, and that is just good common sense. Common sense. If you have a plan every day for what you're going to eat, then it's a lot easier than just reaching for whatever's available. Because usually what's available, it isn't necessarily the best thing for you. So that brings me to my meme for the day, which is, this is a biggie. Everybody knows this one. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I'm not even sure who said that, but I can't give anybody the credit for that one, but that's kind of one of those things that's been around for a while, and it makes a lot of sense. It's so much easier for me during the week, I know, that if I go through and say, what do I feel like making this week, or what do I feel like eating? I rarely eat out. In fact, literally, because I'm on a program myself right now, and I'm just trying to be just really down the pike, eating so well. I haven't eaten out anywhere other than my house or something that I've made since like November. But that's just me, you know. It's nothing for me to whip something together. If you guys look into these blueprint recipes and kind of hang in there with me, and try some of those on your own, you'd be surprised, you know, how easily you can just pick up a few things and just get your own little repertoire. I call it your go-tos. If you want to do some menu planning and really be successful at changing the way you and your family eat, especially if you're the person in charge, if you're the mom or the dad that does the shopping, or you know, there's more preponderant, I guess, to cooking. It's so much easier when you have a plan. That's just 101. I just know for myself, I sit back and I think, okay, I'm gonna make this, I'm gonna make that. Then I have my little grocery list. I figure out what I got, and I make a lot of things that can be frozen. And I'll make a double batch, throw a few in, and then, you know, and then I have a whole week where I don't have to make anything. I just pull stuff out, you know, if I've got a really busy week or something like that. You know, I just go with the flow. So, and you may say, well, that's pretty easy for you, Miss Donna Meals. You've been a chef for 25 years, but there's so many things that are so easy to make. Just, you know, get some ground turkey or some ground beef, make some meatballs. You can make 5 different, you know, or maybe even 2 different flavors of meatballs. You know, ooh, that would be a good blueprint recipe. I think I'm gonna come up with that this week. Maybe we'll investigate that. And I'm gonna do some soup this week. I think I'm gonna make some minestrone, probably either tomorrow or Wednesday. Not sure yet, but I gathered up all the ingredients. I'm gonna make it. It's gonna be one of my little shows. But my topic today, along the lines of change and planning, I guess I'm saying change because anytime that you want to make a change for the better, that involves your habits, and planning helps you establish the habits. So, okay, so we tied that all together. Another little meme that I have from one of the old school self-motivators back in the, from last century. Norman Vincent Peale said, change your thoughts and you change your world. So if your thoughts are gravitating towards the plan you already have in place, your outcomes are going to be better. And that's not just with food. That's with your business. That's with, your relationship goals. It's all those things. So I try and tie in all these different themes together all the time. And just because they're so important. They're common sense. Nobody's teaching that anymore. Nobody's teaching common sense. Anyway, so our topic today is water, hydration, H2O. I happen to go with the, this is from Costco, but I have been buying my water supply all over the place, Trader Joe's, wherever I'm at, but I usually tend to go with the alkaline water, which is usually a higher pH. Medium pH is neutral is like around 7, but these are all higher than 9.5s and 10s. Having an elevated pH it's especially good for cancer, because cancer cannot survive in an acidic, it thrives in an acidic. It cannot survive in an alkaline environment. So I don't know, anytime I'm moving away from cancer, I think I'm doing good, right? But the alkaline water is just, it's actually just one of those things that you can do. Make that choice. And I buy my big old gallons of just regular spring water that I use for my my tea and my drinks during the day, because I go through an entire gallon. I probably put that in my Keurig every day. I'm not drinking coffee right now, as many of you know, but I'm drinking tea all damn day, because it's keeping me into a habit of drinking water, because this is water. If you're doing herbal teas, I don't consider coffee. That's not adding, you might be drinking 8 ounces of coffee with or maybe you drink 2 cups in the morning, but that 16 ounces, you can't count that as part of your water intake, because it's dehydrating. And so is that glass of wine or a cocktail, alcohol and caffeine. That's why they're kind of on the no-no list in a lot of the health professionals' realms. And I'm just saying that you really, 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 really need to drink as much water as you can. The guideline is take your weight, divide it in half, and then drink that many ounces. So if you're like 150 pounds, you need to drink 75 ounces of water. 64 ounces is a half gallon. So, half gallon is even less than what most people would require on the low end. That's just kind of a general rule. For me, I just I aim for a gallon a day, and I usually will hit that mark easily, because I'm drinking tea all day, and these are like double cups. I have two little tea bags in there, and I haven't, either with stevia or I've been doing the monk fruit lately, and I like that, and I just basically have it's a little bit of sweet, but I have that flavor in there. So that is my that's my brain hack, my water hack for today. My brain hack today is finding this little ways, and I'll go through that at the end here. But first, let me get to this water thing. I want to talk about got my little notes here. Okay. Water is actually one of the main proponents of controlling blood sugar spikes and flux. Has a lot to do with it. I mean, when you consider it, I mean, we're like mostly water. We are mostly made out of water. And our little cells, you know, they need a specific amount. Little mitochondria need it to make all the energy, produce the ATP, get us going. You know, cellular respiration, I guess is what it depends upon water a lot. We really, for the most part as a society, tend to be dehydrated in general. I'm going to just read through some things that are affected by water in our system. Obviously, fluid balance, which is what I was just talking at a cellular level. But water carries your nutrients to your cells. It helps in your blood. It helps flush your toxins and your waste out. And on a side note of that, there was something that I realized in my, when I was helping people reduce the caboose. One of the things that I came across in all of the research that I was doing is how is coming across the understanding that our body as a defense mechanism, if you've got too many toxins floating around in your system, you know, maybe you're, I don't know, varnishing or painting, a lot of toxins, and eating really crappy food, eating, you know, pizza that came from Domino's at the same time because you're working on the house, and then you had to take your relaxation and drink a case of beer. There's a lot of toxins going on all over the place there. That's going to be a time when your liver and your kidneys are struggling to get by and process, and they're sitting there thinking, oh my God, what are you throwing at me? What are all these crazy unknown substances that aren't from nature that I have to deal with? Because a lot of our chemistry in our world is tweaked. It's not naturally occurring, shall we say. It's man-made. So our body is not designed to deal with that, and it gets a little overwhelmed. So what it does is it deals with those toxins and to try and eliminate that. And then a lot of times the food doesn't get processed and just becomes fat. The body will just store it to fat. We'll deal with this later. Encapsulates those toxins with the fat. That's sometimes why we get grumpy when we're downsizing ourselves and we're losing pounds. We can tend to get a little grumpy or headache. Those are the free radicals and the toxins running around in your system. The best way to get them out, just drink a truckload of water. That's why when you get a massage, the masseuse will always say, oh, make sure you drink your water. Well, I don't know if you realized why, because mostly a lot of the toxins sometimes will tend to stick in your lymph nodes too, and in the massage, you know, and in your musculature and in the cells, it's kind of brought them to the surface and worked those toxins out. So they want you to flush them out so they don't get re-encapsulated in fat somewhere because your body's in a stress mode trying to deal with, you know, what happened in the massage. Because that doesn't happen every day. Well, I mean, if you're lucky it did. Then your body be used to it. But so I digress. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is water is the most key nutrient essential to our survival, more so than anything. When you go back and realize, I mean, this is a common sense. This is a no-brainer. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that if you're out somewhere stranded stuck under a rock or something, you can get by with, you know, for weeks without food, but only a couple of days without water. That should be like key. Hello. Hello, everyone. Drink more water. I'm the worst offender, so the only reason I'm drinking the water now is because I made my plan. I incorporate it into my shopping list every week when I decide when I'm going to go in, and like I said, I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday written out on the gallons, so I know if I'm not going through it that I need to speed up the pace, and it's just better for every organ in your body to work more properly. So anyway, getting back to the good things, supporting our healthy kidneys, obviously, keeping our body parts moist, the moisture rich ones, which is hair, skin, nails, your mouth and nose, all of that complex. They need to stay moist or you're in big trouble. Your water content really has a lot to do with how well your skin is, and getting those toxins cleared out is going to make sure that your complexion is nice and dewy and pleasant and young. Youth is all part of that too. So, and cushioning your joints, helping with muscle cramps, reduces inflammation. Oh my gosh, inflammation. We're gonna have to do a show on just inflammation. That's like, inflammation is the telltale sign of if a disease is starting to creep up on you. I mentioned aging. It also helps with your your body temperature and your metabolism in general, how you process your food, how your thyroid works, and regulates, your metabolism and the usage of all of what you put in your body. Okay, so I'm always talking about food, but water is just as important. So the signs that you may be a little dehydrated, headache, if you're feeling dizzy, having weird breathing issues, basically if you have dry mouth, or sometimes I'll wake up and my eyes are dried out. I'm like, wow. And some days I'm severely dehydrated. If you've got dry skin, lack of energy, that's a huge one. Fainting, and mental fogginess. Okay. Now I know some of those things can be indicative of other stuff too, but you won't need to care about what they are if you just eat right and drink what you're supposed to, water. So, I did mention caffeine and alcohol are dehydrating, so those are things to look out for. If you're traveling to a really, like I used to live in the desert where we get to be 120 degrees. You had to make, there are certain days you're like, oh, if you're at all feeling thirsty ever, that means you're probably a quart low. Easily. If you live in that type of environment where I did, and it's super hot desert, you definitely need to drink more. If you go on vacation, you're a little active, you're going out having cocktails and stuff, you gotta drink more water in the morning. Okay, so here's my rule of thumb, and I think this is really the smartest way to go about it is, when I get up in the morning, I plow down a good, I'm gonna say, at least half of this, and within a few swigs and stuff, and I force it a little bit just because I know I got to do it. But I take a lot of supplements right now with the program that I'm doing, and you got to take that requires a lot of water. The other thing is, you want to plan through, and know when you're going to be eating and such. You want to drink more of your water in between meals. Not so much right before a meal, like right before or during a meal, because, and especially for us that are a little older, we don't have as much hydrochloric acid in our body and digesting. The body starts slowing down production of that. So the more diluted the food is, the harder it is for your acids in your stomach to digest the food. So it's a little easier on you if you keep the water more at when you're at, I think you guys may have remembered when you're at level 2 or so of the hunger chart, you know, before you're really hungry. I went over this, honoring your hunger and honoring your fullness, where you should start thinking about eating something when you're at like 2 out of 10 in the hunger scale, and never wait till all the way till 10, but start eating around 7 or so. And then also, you really should only eat till you're about 70% full. And I went into that, but for those of you that have seen that, what I'm getting at is I'm relating this to that. When you understand that you're starting to get hungry, and this is very important, you know, like, oh, 2, yeah, I think I'm starting to get hungry. I'm like at about a 2 out of a 10. We all know we can extrapolate that within ourselves if we give it a little thought. You know, just close your eyes and think about it. But at that 2 place, now if you know it's in the evening and you've already had dinner, and I have a client right now who's struggling with this, can't seem to lose weight. He's eating very well during the day, but then he just blows it at night and just eats just a lot of stuff. And he says, I'm just starving. I'm so hungry. So, you know, there's a place where you got to try and figure out how much of that is here and how much of it is, you know, is the actual, it could be an addiction. It could be a mental addiction. It could be a physical addiction. You know, there's all kinds of things going on there. But the one surefire way to start knocking out some of those cravings, suck down a glass of water. If you're at a place where you think, why am I hungry? I don't really need to be hungry right now. This isn't this isn't part of my plan, etc. Drink some water, pile down some water, and see if that kills it for you. I know for a fact myself that I will be hungry and be like, oh, I feel like eating something, and really just dehydrated. And if I drink that glass of water or whatever, it goes away. You know, my brain goes off. I'm doing something else. So that's just cool little trip or tech. It's my little neurology thing. Sorry. Tip or trick. That's a cool little deal, shall we say, to try and circumvent, you know, you get 5 or 6 times during the week that you opt for a glass of water instead of eating something, and your body's okay with that because it was just serving another need. Think about how much less input of food that is, and how that's going to affect your bottom line. Your bottom line, your caboose. After a while, that adds up. So that's just good little kind of tip. So, the other thing that I do too is alcohol is very it's not good for you in so many different levels. And I'm in a place right now where I'm not drinking any alcohol. I think I had some wine at Christmas, with the family, and I've gone out once or twice with a couple girlfriends and just said, I'm gonna go have some fun tonight. But for the most point, I've been at I've been here or there, and people are having a cocktail. I just, earlier this week even. That was last week. And I just get my little club soda and my lime, and I'm just, and I do that with food too. I've gone to a barbecue where I'm just doing my own thing, and I'm on a specific regimen of what I'm trying to eat, and I know damn sure what they're serving up is not on my list of what I can bring. So I just bring my own. I did that at Rotary for lunch for years. They made fun of me. Bring my little salad in the bag. Because I wanted to make sure that I was eating good, organic salad. I brought my own dressing for sure, because I think I may have told you that story. The institutional dressing is really scary. Hydrogenated this. Oh, and we are going to do labels sometime this week. We're going to do a label reading episode, because that gets intense. There's a lot of good stuff in there. But I guess I'm trying to just give you guys some hints that, you know, you can still participate even though you're not imbibing or eating the same thing everybody else is. Just bring your own. It's just like, oh yeah, this is what I'm doing. Just let it go and that's it. Make your mocktail and your mock food or whatever. Whatever it is that gets you to the place where you're in control. You're in the driver's seat of what's going on in your chemistry. Because we leave that up to too many other people and places. You know, there's so much bad food out there and chemicals and all the stuff that is really working against us. All goes back to the same thing. If what I'm putting in my body, is this bite going to help me or hurt me? And sometimes it's a neutral. Sometimes if it's a neutral, because you're, you know, the benefit or the happy factor you're going to get, it's like, oh, I'll have that one bite of cake. Okay, have one bite of cake. And know that, you know, I haven't had this in so long. That's so good, you know. Sometimes the happiness factor outweighs the good or bad, because in the end, it is good for you. The vibration that you create of, you know, the good brain chemistry that you create is going to overrule whatever the badness is. So, in moderation, I'm talking. Not saying go eat chocolate cake every day or, you know, whatever. But to reward oneself or have a treat or something like, wow, I haven't had that in so long. Like, for instance, I was playing cards with my mom and her friends yesterday, and I had my little, would you like to have some coffee? Nope, can't have anything that you have in there. Not going to do that cream, not going to do the sugar. Nope, I got my tea here, you know, and I have my little snacks that I bring, my nuts, and I have some pecans and some cashews, and I had some grain-free granola that I had, and they're having these madeleines and coconut cake, and I mean, I haven't had any of that stuff in so long, and I you know, I would love a bite of that, but I thought, you know what, I said, no, I'm good for now. I don't need it, you know. But when it comes time, at one point, I'm just gonna say, you know what, I think I'm just gonna have a little bite and try that, and so it's all within you. It's within where you're at. Is where I'm getting at. So, okay, so some other tricks for the water, because sometimes people, they don't like water. That's me. It's hard for me to just sit there and slam, you know, a glass of water, unless I'm easy when I'm working out, you know, after I'm done working out, or easy in the morning if I'm really thirsty or whatever. Because I try to not drink anything before bed and at nighttime, so good. This is something good too. Because especially like an hour or two before bed and you've emptied your bladder, I have to, because I have a problem. I have a cardio problem where I faint. That's how I broke my neck. And it usually involves being in a state of rest and getting up and being horizontal. So I have a tendency to faint if I get up in the middle of the night to go to the ladies' room. So I'm super careful about that and make sure that I don't have fluids, and I go potty before I go to bed. It's like a little kid. But, you know, there's been serious consequences for that with me, and it's just something I had to learn. But the thing that I figured out from that, and that's the point that I'm trying to make, is my sleep is so much better because I'm not, you know, you go through the different wavelengths of your brain energy, and the deeper that you sleep, when you get into REM sleep especially, you're just in a place where your body is repairing so much more, and you're bringing in energy from the universe. So the more deeply you can sleep, obviously, you know, everybody knows that, the better off you're going to be. So I I have been sleeping better now that I've actually made myself a plan, a goal, a habit, and have enforced my plan. And that's just part of my habit now, you know. Originally it was really hard to just really be cognizant of that, but my sleep is better for it, so that's huge. Anyway, I think I've gone on long enough with all this. I hope that everybody is seriously a little more informed and why it's so important to drink some water, and you've actually decided, hey, I'm gonna have to take up some of this information and make a change for myself. And start it today, you know. Get in your regimen for what it is in the morning. Put your bed by, your water by the bedside, or sit down and plan out what your food is and how much water. Go to the store, get yourself your water for the week or whatever. It's only Monday. I think I may have said it, but we should all drink at least, I'll just, retouch on that. At least take your weight, divide it by 2, and drink that many ounces or more every day. So, as for that, I'm not going to worry about doing a life hack, because we've already done that. We've done the life hack and the food hack today, and the food hack is drink your water, and the life hack is make it taste good. Here's a few other ideas. Add some lemon or lime or orange to your big bottle of water. Maybe sometimes I put a little bit of stevia, just so it has a little bit of a flavor, it reminds me. You can find some water additives, that have flavor in them. Just be very careful to stay away from anything that has the artificial sweeteners in there. Just stevia, monk fruit, only the natural ones. Because they're the only ones that won't cause you more harm chemically and won't, spike your blood sugar. So, all right. Well, we'll see you all later on this week. Be good, everyone.